Hey guys, and welcome back to another brand new video, and we are about to head on to a steam railway here in the Isle of Wight, and I'm very excited because I usually travel on modernized kind of trains, whereas this would be a really interesting experience and I would love to see the countryside and everything, so let's get into it.
Before we went inside one of these majestic vintage trains, we walked around the site and realised how much activities there were that we could do once we had returned from the train ride. These included the train storing museum, the railway shop museum, and even a hawk exhibition. When we arrived at the Haven Street station, it was around lunchtime, so we headed to the cafe. It stunned all of us when we saw how old-fashioned yet modern their interior was, with a wooden interior structure and many signs that directed the people as to where they were going. We settled down and ate some deliciously good sausage rolls before heading to the thing that I was waiting for the most. At around midday, we joined a massive crowd and hurried to the front carriage of a steam train that was about to take us all on the most peaceful journey that I have ever experienced. When we went inside, I was shocked and surprised at how well they were able to sustain the vintage interiors of each carriage. Like the cafe, the interior was also wooden, with windows on both sides except for the front, which is where I sat to catch a glimpse of the breeze and the countryside air. Each seat was covered with a carpet-like texture that made the seats very comfortable to sit on. These seats reminded me of the seats of those in our modern-day buses. There were a few hand-painted posters and advertisements that were additional reminders that this train was pretty old-fashioned. After watching another train depart from the station, we started our relaxing journey around the countryside. For those who don't know, I would like to tell you how these work. I actually learned this from my dad as well, so I would like to thank him for telling me this very interesting information. There is water in the engine that is turned into steam when it is heated up. The volume of water expands as it turns to steam inside the boiler, creating a high pressure. The expansion of steam pushes the pistons that connect to the driving wheels to operate the locomotive, therefore allowing the train to move along the railways. Did you know that these trains can get to at least 40 miles an hour, which I was very surprised about when I was told about it. As we went around the place, I noticed how lush and green the surroundings were. I was amazed, and with the extra heat, it almost felt like I was in a tropical country. We soon came across a train guard. The job of a train guard is to look out during the journey to ensure all is correct with the train and line side, and to handle any incident or emergency according to the rulebook in a calm and efficient manner. The train guard who was on our train got off at the station, checked for those getting off and getting on the train, before he blew a whistle and waved a green flag to signal that the train was ready to continue with its journey.
So we just got down from the train. I had a really good experience because on the inside it was nice and vintage, but at the same time it was really comfortable and really nice and cozy in there. And you can look outside, it was like mostly countryside, it was really nice weather. You could also see like garden and everything, train station, and lots of really cool stuff. I actually fell asleep on the train, but I mean at least you now know how comfy it is. Such a nice sleep. Bit random, but I had a good experience.
After we had gotten off the train, we headed towards a major exhibition by the name of Train Story. As we headed there, we saw a large heap of coal, which I believe they used to heat up the water in the engine of the steam trains. As my mind was still confused at the sheer amount of coal, we had reached a section of Haven Street Station that had live demonstrations of people repairing and restoring parts of steam trains, such as the front and the carriages. In fact, did you know that both of the trains on the railway that we went on actually consisted of different parts of a train that had been donated in an effort to save it? And so far, these procedures have been a massive success. I mean, look at these beauties! After a few minutes stroll, we had arrived at the train story exhibition. However, before we entered, we came across a vintage beach hut carriage that was situated outside the entrance. There were a few benches and chairs outside that were situated under the shade, and as we went inside, we were sent to a beautiful summer day in the 1900s, as there was an open dining area with cutlery laid out and an old-fashioned radio playing music in the background. There were 2 extra compartments, one of them with a double bed and a shelf to put books, and the other for a few single beds. This carriage would have been big enough for a family of 4 or 5 and was very interesting to explore. When we had finished exploring the caravan, we finally went inside and had a look at the Train Story Museum. As you watch us go around and look at all of the vintage trains and their carriages, let me tell you the history of the Isle of Wight Steam Railway. The Isle of Wight Steam Railway has 24 staff and around 350 volunteers who are working on the trains. The Train Story Museum represents 120 years of railway here in the Isle of Wight. A network of nearly 5 miles of railway was built between 1862 and 1900. The 10 companies involved eventually grouped together to become the Southern Railway in 1923 before being nationalised in 1948. Despite the railway's success, roped competition contributed to its quicker closure from 1952 to 1966. In 1963, the chairman of the British Railways Board, Dr. Beeching, proposed the closure of the island's remaining 2 railway lines. He closed the line from Rye to Cowes and the line from Rye to Ventnor. It was decided that the line from Rye to Shanklin was to be electrified, leading to the last steam train making its journey on the 31st of December 1966. 3 teenage boys decided to revive the island railways. They formed the Wight Locomotive Society, initially to preserve one of the unique island engines. Over a period of 5 years, plans were made to open a steam railway between Haven Street and Wootton. By Easter 1971, the Isle of Wight Steam Railway opened for business. The volunteers ran the trains on summer Sundays and bank holidays. From 1988 to 1991, the line from Haven Street to Smallbrook Junction was brought back to life. By July 1991, the railway was running during most days in the summer. At Smallbrook Junction, the trains connect with the Island Line service from Ryde Pier, which uses former London Underground trains. In 2004, the former Queen of England travelled on Wootton to Haven Street lines to open the Carriage and Wagon Workshop, which was funded by the Heritage Lottery Fund. The Isle of Wight Steam Railway has been recognised for its work, winning the Heritage section in the annual National Lottery Awards in 2010 and the Queen's Award for Voluntary Service in 2012.
So we just went through this museum and looked at the history of trains, and it's really interesting seeing what it looked like in Victorian times, because it looks way different to our underground and overground trains, because those are powered by electricity, whereas these ones are powered by steam. Yeah, we also got to go inside, which is really cool. Yeah, it was a pretty cool experience.
Finally, before we left, we went to the Railway Shop Museum, and like its name suggests, there was a whole mini museum in there, which I was still shocked about. I didn't expect that sign to be that literal. Anyways, we carried on and admired the museum that had many artifacts such as train parts, a timeline, photos, and just like the cafe, many signs once again. We then explored the gift shop, which had many souvenirs, from toys, fridge magnets, books, stencils, stationery, and so much more.
So we just finished going around the Isle of Wight Steam Railway, and I had a great experience here because I like trains a lot. So it's really interesting going a bit further into how trains work, especially the steam ones. And I like learning about how olden times were, like Victorian times, it was a really good experience. Well, anyways, thank you for watching this brand new video. I do hope you enjoyed it. Please do make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.